What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about what kind of shopping we'll be able to do in Hogwarts Legacy. That's right, we're going down the shopping route. But honestly, this one, and I don't remember your name, so I'm terribly sorry. But I remember a few videos ago when I was talking about house points. I was talking about the different, houses that you can be in and how that could affect your character. I remember reading a comment that talked about basically spending money. How do you think you could spend it? Where do you think you could go? What do you think you could buy? Stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? That's a good video. So whoever said that, thank you very, very much. I truly appreciate it. And as always, and I'm going to try to get better. I'm so busy nowadays, but I'm going to honestly try to get better at this over time. If you ever want me to talk about something about Hogwarts Legacy, whether it's a theory, whether it's speculation, whether it's, about a specific topic, let me know in the comments. And I will try to actually know your name so I can shout you out in these videos, okay? I am really actually sorry about that. I can't remember the name, and I can't actually find the comment either. That's another thing. So let me know in the comments. And before we get into it, let's just get all the promotion stuff out of the way. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on. If you haven't followed me over on Twitter, I'm praying that at the time this video goes up, we're already at 2,000 followers over on Twitter. But if we're not, please be number 2,000 for me, okay? If you have a Twitter, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Link is in the description below. Okay. So what's going to kind of be cool about this discussion, I think, is we've talked about a little bit about this before, but only in regards to wands. And I know not everybody agreed with my wand discussion. It was actually one of the very first 4, 5, 6 videos I did on Hogwarts Legacy when we knew the game was real, and it was the biggest viewed one at the time, and I don't think everybody kind of heard me out. My general point with wands is actually you shouldn't be able to buy 1,000 different wands, because the general gist of wands in the wizarding world is the wand chooses its user, right? And that there's a special connection and bond formed, and I was just kind of speculating and saying, all right, well, let's be real, though. Let's be real. So we love the Wizarding World. We've read the books. We've watched the movies, all that stuff. Okay, cool. We're all really cool people. But, and I don't mean that, honestly, in a negative way, okay? I'm not, attacking anybody. But for a game, when you think about attacks and defense and a kind of stamina bar maybe for your magic and all that stuff, but a game that's an RPG that's going to be leveling up, I do imagine there's going to be some sort of mixing of wands at some point. And by that, I mean, you may not have the same wand all the way through. Now, again, we have to see how they do it, because are there maybe, charms? Can you, craft in a way? You know what I'm trying to say? Because it's odd with the Wizarding World. You have to kind of say, okay, well, in this game, you can apply, skill points, or you would, say, even The Witcher. You can swap out armors and items and weapons and all that stuff for, higher-powered ones, but you can't necessarily do that in Hogwarts Legacy, because that breaks a fundamental principle of the game, where it's yeah, the wand is actually very, very important. It's your wand. With that being said, we can't all start out with the same wand, right? So picking your wand is actually going to be kind of interesting depending on how they do it. Do we get a list of 50 wands and we just pick one? Do they have attributes to them? And we get to pick from there. Do we have to do a questionnaire and then the game just gives it to us based off our answer? You know what I mean? And you could be saying, okay, well, Alex, you're spending a lot of time on this. Well, okay, when we talk about spending money or buying anything, a wand, I would assume, is one of the first things that kind of comes up, right? So wand buying, and maybe you could break your wand, but again, that's muddy waters, because it's well, are you going to break your wand 5 times in the game? That would be kind of odd. You're not supposed to do that. It would actually be kind of difficult to do that. You should probably get into a lot of trouble for doing something like that. Again, the wands are obviously very, very important to the wizard or witch that they're connected to. But I do think wands are going to play a pretty significant role. I would imagine even it's actually tough to even talk about clothes, right? It's clothes shopping. That's how far we've stooped, as I'm talking about clothes shopping in Hogwarts Legacy. But no, again, I'm just kidding. In fact, I actually really love talking about this stuff. That one's tough too, because I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is kind of a a dress code in Hogwarts, isn't there? You can't just wear jeans and I don't know, a weird sweater that's got a cat in the front. I'm literally just throwing things out there. You have to dress accordingly. With that being said, if they do different seasons, which we talked about, and by seasons I mean weather, temperature changes, right? If they do that, I mean I would imagine you would switch out of your attire at some certain point. So can you buy that kind of stuff? How exactly does that work? It's tough, because there's not too many things you can think of. Of course you can think the next thing would be like items. So like you'd have the wand, and again, that could be, you could buy it. Maybe there's charms that you can buy and like equip to them, things like that. There's, again, like your attire, but that's going to be interesting too, because I guess going back to that really quickly, like certain games, like I just talked about with Witcher, or like I'm playing Persona, like I'm like, at the time you guys are watching, I'm probably like 70, 80 hours into Persona. That game is just so freaking good. But that game, you can actually equip, outfits, and you're wearing the same outfit. Like you'll always look exactly the same, but like your stats will change based off the outfit you do. And obviously a lot of RPG games do that with armor and just different things like that, where they buff certain things. Well, for Hogwarts, again, like that would be interesting, because you do imagine you're going to get into fights. You do, and like I said, like maybe certain clothes can have certain attributes where like you can I don't know, like your stamina is increased, or it gives you more max health, because maybe it's like a bulky jacket. It's got like it's got like leather or something like that. I don't know. Again, like these are kind of just fun things to throw out, but you know what I mean? But then like you have to wear it, so that's a little odd as well. I see items, and when I say items, I mean potions is the first thing that jumps into my mind. Those are kind of the things I think we'll be doing the majority of our spending on, where you can probably, because this is a perfect, I think this is a perfect game for this kind of system to be built in. This game, I assume you're going to be able to craft your own potions. You know what I mean? Like make your own potions. And that can be, and we've talked about that before, right? Just going to classes, maybe make you make potions faster. If you're in a certain house, so say you're in like a Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw or something like that, something that maybe buffs your intelligence. Can you make potions quick? So things like that, right? And I mean, and granted, in the trailer, we literally do see them creating potions. So I do think that is going to be part of the game. I mean, when you do think of the Wizarding World, and you think about like side activities, which we could talk about in future, and I've done that before too. I've talked about different side things you can do. I would imagine like sitting down and just crafting things. Crafting in this world would mean, again, like brewing potions, right? I would imagine you can do that. And so, but that's maybe not going to be for everybody. Maybe some people, well, number one, if you have stats buffed that make potion making easier, maybe you will make potions more often. But if you don't have that, maybe you don't want to, or maybe just in general, you don't want to spend your free time making potions, right? So maybe you can buy them. Maybe you can go out and buy them. Now, I don't know how, or, I don't know how often you'd be able to go out to do these certain things, but that would be kind of interesting as well. Pets or something, I guess. We've talked about, I guess, like, could you bring an owl? Could you bring the various kind of pets that you could bring into Hogwarts? Like, can you buy that? Do you need that? Broomsticks? Actually, let me say this. We've talked about Quidditch quite a few times. I'm always up for talking about Quidditch, by the way, because I absolutely love it. But we've talked about it before. That's something that actually just popped in my head. If Quidditch is a fundamental part of this game. Now, I don't know if it will be. And in fact, I would say that it won't be. So don't take this, as anything super hardcore or heavy, right? But if Quidditch is something you can do, let's say more than one time, like it's not a side quest where you play one game or you do one thing while flying and then that's the only time you do it. If it's something where you can do practices, where you can play games, where you can maybe win rewards if you do win, where you can pick your, like all this stuff. So like detailed kind of stuff, okay? If you can do that, I would imagine broomsticks would be something that you can buy. You know what I mean? So, and that'd be interesting too, because like you maybe as you progress throughout your year or years in Hogwarts, maybe you would need to buy a better broomstick. Maybe if you use a broomstick year one, it's not going to be a very good broomstick to use. Like year two, like people will beat you because they have, they're just faster. Okay. So that's something to think about as well. I really think, and one final thing I want to say is, we talked all about spending and buying things. How do we get money? That's something that, and I hope somebody's called me on that already in the comments. How do you earn money in this game? That would be interesting. I honestly don't actually know how you earn money, because when you think about the Wizarding World, I mean, number one, you're literally like you're a teenager. So, and I guess in this case, you're like a fifth year. So you really are just a teenager at this point. You have a job. I don't think you would have a job. So, like, I don't know. You have an inheritance. You have savings. You have something like that. I don't actually know how you would do that. So maybe they'd have to work in some way for you to earn. Well, let me say this. A cheap kind of cop-out way, which you could debate whether it is a cheap or cop-out way, is when you complete quests, you get money, which would be fine. It's not like other games don't do that. It doesn't make a load of sense because you're in this world, you're just doing things in the world. So even if you do a quest that is something that a normal Hogwarts student wouldn't do, you wouldn't be paid for it. But in a game like this, you probably would. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I could easily see them tying in money with just quests, which is fine. And it honestly may be the only way they can do it that makes... Again, it doesn't really make sense, but I mean, no other way of earning income would make sense in this world. And if you want to have an economy, an economic system in this game, which you'd imagine you do, really any RPG game, there is money being spent. And that's the thing that's like, okay, how much do you put into that? How much do you actually care that they're maybe kind of breaking the fourth wall in a way, or like breaking the immersion where it's like, okay, obviously you wouldn't get money for doing this in Hogwarts because you normally wouldn't be doing this anyway, but we're going to give you money because we do have an economy and we do want you spending money on certain things. Like, obviously, it's not the most believable thing in the world, but it is a video game, so some things would have to be broken in that way, right? So I know I'm going down a deeper road. Maybe we can have a whole discussion about income, about earning. Maybe we could do taxes. I mean, there's a lot of different things you could go down that route, right? So let me know, guys. I'll stop myself there before I get myself into trouble. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What do you personally think we would buy in this game? Maybe how do you think we would get money? And again, any suggestions or wants for future Hogwarts Legacy videos, definitely let me know in the comments below. As always, make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. Again, following me over on Twitter, Podcast Now 15. I do a new Hogwarts Legacy video every 4 to 5 days. I hope to see all of you on the next video.